I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7:33. For those watching, our president is not here tonight, and I'm filling in. Has everybody looked at the agenda, and is it acceptable? Okay.
Oh, just the letter for the, under other, new business.
Okay.
You've
So
got
bring
that
it up.
letter?
You bet.
Mhm.
It's a great letter. Okay, then let's do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Privilege of the floor. As there's nobody here from the public, we'll move on to approval of the minutes. Everybody's reviewed those. Let's know of any changes.
Just one. On the second page, under new business, tax cap resolution, the year is 2013, 2014. No? Yeah?
I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Page 2, tax cap. The year, 2012.
Paragraph 8.
Mm-hmm.
Twice, yeah. In section D too, is it the same thing?
Yeah,
That's
right,
cut
in
and
section
paste.
D, yeah.
Thank you.
Good catch.
Eagle eye.
Oh, listed in 2011?
The law, is that the law adopted in 2011? So that should be okay.
Yeah. The law was adopted in 2011? That's correct?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah. Okay,
We can double check it, but I believe that's correct.
all right. Just make sure we're. Is that how Ken spells his name? How does Ken spell his last name?
Tashan?
Is it Nick?
C-H-A-N.
What is he?
Tashan.
It's missing a C, right? Page 1, last.
Why not?
And that was in,
Page 1.
Director's report?
okay,
1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth from the bottom.
C-H-A-N, yes.
That's what I thought.
Is that it? T-C? I'm gonna look it up. I'm
It's,
sorry, I'm gonna look it up.
T-S-C-H-A-N.
Yeah.
T-S-C-H-A-N,
Yeah.
okay, I was missing the C. Thank you.
Any other changes? Okay, that'd be it. Treasurer's report.
We have to vote on it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have a motion to approve the January 14th minutes
Motion.
With changes.
with changes? Thank you. First and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, then we can move on to the treasurer's report.
Thanks. Good evening, everybody.
Evening, Joe.
I have we have the reports here for January 31st, month end, month 7 of the year. And during the month, we really made a pretty good effort of getting caught up on the Baker and Taylor books. We're under 30 days of being totally current as of like through today. So the books numbers are pretty accurate now. Never gonna be within a week, because within a week, the invoices aren't even here. So we're about as current as we could possibly be on the books. But I skipped ahead there, but in January, the library charges were really good, $2,156.02. But I believe it's 'cause at the end of December with the Christmas and New Year's holidays, some of the December money didn't get deposited until January. So really, if you took an average of January and December, it's really like that 1,800 a month number. But for January, the number looks better there because of that. But you can see year-to-date, we're still a little bit below on that. But I think for next year's budget, we lowered that number to make it more, you know, for the library charges, back to what it had been. The salaries for the month, again, we're a little over 1,000 under budget. So year-to-date, we're running 3,500 under budget. So it looks like at the end of the year, we should at least be, you know, right on. I don't think it'll change that much with only 5 months to go. Again, the books were brought up current. That's the one area where we're running a little bit above budget on the books, especially the adult books. And again, I think we addressed that for next year because we added more money back to the adult book line to put it where it had been. So that should be accounted for in the future. Nothing else really stands out. Total, sure. Okay, don't get into that now. No problem. The miraculous thing that Matt and I were looking at the other day is that on the total spending line, year-to-date budget is $740,577, and actual spending is $736,295, a little over 4,000 below budget. So we're almost like right on a bullseye there. So we're pretty much right on target. And that's including with the retirement bill coming in more than had been expected. If it wasn't for that, we would really be doing well. We've got plenty of cash to make it to the end of the year. We should be getting our last tax check, the 10% one, a little over 100,000 in, I think, late March. We have plenty to get us through there, and we'll probably be on target to end the year where we had thought with the 260,000 roughly or so left as cash. And the last point I'll make is, after the February payment, the loan is now down to $187,958.12. So we're well below the 200,000 mark. So more or less, that's about it. Heading on track.
Have any questions? No. Do we have to make a motion to accept the treasury report?
We do, usually.
Usually.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, if we usually do, then let's do that. I'd like to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report. Do I have a motion? Seconded? All in favor? Aye. Jim? Norma? Thank you, Jack.
Thank you. That was good, went well. Thank you.
Okay, committee reports.
Jim, do you want to mention about your friends, your movie, the last two, and the trivia contest?
Well, the Friends, the big event that's coming up is the Goshen Trivia Contest. It's March 2nd. Going to be held at the Hall of Fame again. If you haven't done that, this is the third year, you really should do it. It's so much fun. It's $25, and that includes dinner and some beer and wine and desserts, and it's a very nice party.
Lots of laughs, too.
Lots.
Ken's
and
volunteered to
lots
be the MC
of
again.
laughs.
So.
This year, I think the way they're going to do it, they have some teams that are going to compete, and they're going to show images of Goshen, and people have to identify on the teams, identify what it is, or who owned it, or
So
whose father's in the picture, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on the Lions Club team. I was asked today.
Good, good.
Let's
Well,
study the map.
Yes. It's every year it's sold out, so you know, there's the library website has and there's a phone number also you can call Yvonne Mira. And then the last two, we're trying to secure all the releases from the people that were involved in it so that we can take it to some film festivals and also sell copies here at the library. We found a company that will duplicate them and package them very reasonably priced. So Friends meet next week, and hopefully we'll be able to proceed you know, with that plan as well. That could be a nice fundraiser for the Friends, and of course, all that money ends up for the library.
That's great.
It's been circulating, you know that.
Is that right?
Really?
Good.
Is it Ray Quattrini doing something as well?
Ray Quattrini, a few years ago, I'm guessing maybe 5 years ago, something like that,
It
maybe
could
more.
be a bit more, but
Yeah. Had a session with a number of older Goshenites, and he videotaped it, and they have this discussion about, you know, Goshen when they were growing up in the, I guess in some cases in the 30s and 40s and 50s, and so we're going to preview that, see that at a Friends meeting, but it's the historical committee, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the end of, maybe at the end of February, I guess. I guess
Yeah,
it's that.
that sounds
Yeah.
Because it was postponed.
Right.
It was postponed because of weather,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
In fact, I think it's been postponed twice now.
I think it
Had
has.
problems. I've never seen it. It's supposed to be very interesting.
Is that gonna be up on our website?
Yes,
Bless you.
Okay.
the word must have gotten out already because someone, Chris Ashman from the Rotary Club was on his way to check it out
Oh.
that night and found out it was canceled.
Right.
So people were around
interesting.
town have heard about
Good.
it. But yeah, we'll definitely
Get the word
get
out.
the
for
word
them.
out. All right.
So,
Thank you.
keep on moving.
That's it. My turn?
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. And now the director's report.
Well, let me start with the most recent turn of events. This morning, we had a leak over that same place of the bathroom, right over the toilet from the upper floor. I mentioned to you, and Danny bravely got on the roof, and I was out there underneath him. When I got here, it was an ice dam that had pooled, water pooled. The same kind of thing that happened last time, but it wasn't ice; it just pooled because of leaves. So he was able to break the dam, and the water sort of dribbled down the side. He broke the ice off, and the leak stopped miraculously. So no, it was obviously it's whenever it pools up there. So he has. I, in a panic, called the two roofers. I have names for. I mentioned. Just thinking, I was thinking maybe we should just get someone in here as soon as possible just to get that one section done. But Danny says you shouldn't bother with the roof, in his opinion, until the spring. And he thinks that he has some, I don't know, he said it's for fixing roofs on trailers, but he said it would work for a rubberized roof, some kind of stuff you paint on it. And he said it'll last, at least into the spring or summer. So that's our next goal. We just have to wait for it to dry out. So that was, when I got the call from Michelle, water was going straight down from upstairs. I don't know how it was getting down here, but down the walls too. Maybe Carol saw it, I didn't.
In this bathroom here was seeping in the walls,
Okay.
and that's just from buildup on the outer side of the wall
So
itself.
that's a separate
Yeah,
issue,
so
but,
there was two different entry points.
okay.
One up on the roof,
But-
and the
but-
other in this wall.
By the time I arrived at around 10:30, 11, it had stopped out there. So I don't know what the story is with that, but Danny's on top of it. Sorry.
Up on the roof.
Yeah, I didn't mean that. Okay. Let me back up here now. What else we got?
Keith, can I ask, I saw the ladder
Sure.
on the other side of the
Sure.
building when I came over mid-afternoon.
I think he was taking snow off both sides.
Yeah.
And I was helping him because our snow guys forgot to do this thing back here. So Danny was the general and I was the foot soldier. He was telling me how to properly shovel these stairs, which was much more complicated than I thought it should be. I had my own ideas about how to shovel stairs, but Danny has a method and I learned it. But anyway, let's see, what do I have here? It was kind of a strange month. I was out for a week, as you know, and thank you all for the generous gift and the well wishes, as I said. Still have my memory is a little strange. I don't know whether there's a sign of encroaching age or left over from the surgery, but names elude me prior to people I've known well. Suddenly I don't know. I think it's getting better. I mentioned it to you, actually.
Yeah.
And you said something that
And
happened, so
there
I'm
are
not
some
gonna get
people that,
concerned.
some of the anesthesia that you
Right.
knock you out, and it does affect the memory.
Um,
It's really a dangerous thing.
I'll blame that since it's better than feeling old.
Do you know where you are right now?
You know what day it is.
We're not in your living room.
I just came from a Rotary meeting, actually. I was invited. I'll bring this up now. They are interested in helping the library promote literacy. So Michelle and company have a week-long project scheduled for Children's Book Week, which, if you don't know, is May 13th and May 19th. And it's the Great Goshen Gnome Escape. Now, they use the gnome because the summer reading program has to do with the earth, so they're trying to tie it in with the summer reading program. So it's a great idea, I think. They basically are gonna, the idea is that there are gnomes that live in the library. They're gonna have this Papa Gnome, and they're making gnomes out of paper, which they're gonna, all the businesses, as many as we can get, are gonna you're gonna have them in all the different businesses, to school, different places. You know, they're gonna have, I don't know how many of these gnomes, but, and the idea is that these gnomes have escaped the library because they have spring fever, and they have to be lured back into the library with stories. So the kids figure out where these paper gnomes are, but they don't just do that. They have to read a story with their parents to the gnome, either at their home, and then they have to prove it with this thing they fill out, or at the library. That's part of it. Then they're going to do something else with the schools. And I didn't get the whole story. She told me today and kind of gave me a breakdown. But I mentioned it to the president of the Rotary. They're interested in helping us somehow, probably just with money and with the business end of it, with having people at the Rotary bring these things out into Goshen at large. So, I mean, it says we need to place small paper gnomes throughout Goshen. They can be in businesses, schools, public parks, and so on. We'll be asking families to work together to find as many gnomes as they can and read a different story to each gnome to cure them of this spring fever. The families will be given small book templates and asked to write the story they read on it, as well as the location of the gnome. They will then attach it to the gnome before bringing it back to the library and to Papa Gnome. Multiple gnomes can surface in the same location, but we will ask that families only submit one gnome from each location. There will be prizes for participation, as well as a grand prize for the family who rescues the most gnomes. Much like our Goshen Gumball Challenge, this event will coincide with Children's Book Week. In May, it will hopefully encourage families to participate in reading together, practicing reading fluency through reading aloud, and exploring new and different stories. We'll also work to tie the library and reading in with the rest of the Goshen community, and encourage visits to the local businesses. Anyway, they've got it pretty well worked out.
That's fun. It's
yeah,
cute.
it's
Yeah,
really
it's
good.
cute.
It's a good idea. Rotary has invited Michelle to come on March 7th to kind of pitch it and see how you know, I'm fairly sure they want to do it. We'll see how, and you know, we're going to work out the details with them, but it should be fun. And the more businesses we can get interested in housing a gnome temporarily, you know, the better. So we want to really, because I think that when they did the Goshen Gumball Challenge, they had about 15 families participate. But I think with an entity like the Rotary, you could probably triple that, you know, just because, you know, the number of people. And I know that Carol's going to pitch it to the chamber, but Rotary really wants to sort of be an underwriter for whatever, a co-sponsor of the event, if all goes according to plans. So I'll keep you updated on that. What else do I have here? The Wi-Fi. We've had a few hiccups with the Wi-Fi, some problems. Yeah, Carol knows. And a lot of it has to do with Apple. The newest operating system on these Apple, I guess, what are they on the phones and on the, I don't know, apparently don't like the technology we or anybody else is using, because they try to get out to Apple prior to, I don't understand the whole thing, but what it ends up happening is that you can't get on the wireless here if you have these products. So we have that and some other problems. It's very difficult, believe it or not, to do what we want to do. It seems the library directors I've asked to have tried have had similar problems and have backed off of it and given up. I know. So we had to buy a piece of equipment within budget limitations that will correct this. And now it won't just correct the Apple problem, because eventually that probably will be corrected on Apple's side, I imagine. But it'll help with the other issues also that we were having, not all of which I fully understand, but I do understand the sort of stress and irritation of the patrons when they can't get on. And you've seen it. You know, it's. So if you want more information about that, you can ask David later. He'll give you the nuts and bolts. We ran it past Bernie, and it sounds like a reasonable plan. And the equipment came Friday, but I guess this week we're going to try it out. It's basically what RCLS does with their Wi-Fi setups in all the other member libraries, but it costs a lot more the way they're doing it. So we got a very good price break too on the equipment. It was on sale, so that should be a, you know.
Can I ask what the equipment was?
The equipment that we got
Yeah, that
for the
take care.
it's just it's a Cisco wireless controller. It's like a pass-through device that the access point, basically sends traffic to. The only difference is it's one that allows us to add exceptions, like he said, to basically correct problems like what's happening with the Apple devices. It'll let you make exceptions.
Like whitelisted,
Right.
if you want to use
Yeah,
that term.
The problem
So-
is somewhat that the new iOS 5 or 6,
Six, yeah.
when it tries to make an internet connection, the first thing it tries to reach is apple.com. So if you're behind an access point, like we're trying to, where you have to check off the box to get out,
Right.
it can't reach apple.com. And then it locks out everything. It says, oh, I can't make an internet connection, I'm gonna secure you completely. So, and such can't reach any of the other sites inside the building, which would serve up the web page for approval to get out. So it's, they're taking extreme steps to secure the device. So instead, we get a new access point basically, or the new updated access point that will allow whitelisted sites, such as apple.com or whatever the connection site is for approving.
They still have to check off that they
Right,
agreed
and
to.
I think it will make
Yeah.
that much cleaner as well, if I understand it. It's made to do that, basically. It's made to, we've kind of tried to do a workaround on the cheap, and it just wasn't flying. Even with the brains of these two guys put together, it just was not, there was too many problems, and so I think this is a smart maneuver. I mean, I think it will certainly.
And technically, we could add other exceptions too. We could add goshenpubliclibrary.org, we could add rcls.org, and whatever we deem as library business that, oh sure, go to it. And then if you want to go to check your Yahoo Mail, you still got to check the box to to get out. And we can whitelist whatever ones, or none, and only just the Apple ones. So.
Good too.
Cool. So, this week, I guess, David, we're going to be able to try that out?
That's what I'm hoping. There's one other piece I'm waiting for, but that's it.
Okay.
It hasn't come yet. Probably because of the weather.
Right. All right.
Closed Friday. So.
Cornerstone Arts, we signed an agreement. They're going to do 2 plays, one in the spring and one in June. Civil War shorts and I Remain Jane Austen. And it's given me a receipt of sorts, just to break down the cost. So I think they're working with us. So I'm looking forward to seeing those. Everything they do so far has been great. That's about it, I think. I mentioned that, well, Jim took care of the Friends stuff. I think that's it, unless you have any questions.
At the end of your reports, you always say how many books you received, how many were ordered, and discarded. What happens to the discarded books? Where do they go?
Some of them are sold to Better World Books.
Oh,
You may notice if you ever go to Amazon Marketplace,
Okay.
often see Better World Books selling stuff there. And they provide us with, I don't know how much they give us per book, but it's a pretty good.
We just got a check in the other day for $52.
Okay. Some of them go to our sales, to our friends,
good.
and stuff just, that's not saleable ends up just recycled.
Evan.
Yeah, I was gonna say too.
And Norma, thank you for your piece of the newsletter. I hadn't forgotten. I wanted to give you the date, but you beat the deadline by a
I
mile.
just
The
wanted to get
deadline's
it
going to be
Done.
for the newsletter. For the friends, we'll have to know this because they're going to have to put something in it, or at least I hope they will. Will be March 4th. Deadline for copy, but you guys are taken care of now, so thank you. It's fantastic. And it's great to get things up in front so we don't panic.
Yep.
Especially with this one, because this, we really want to get it on.
Yes.
Now, you discarded 275 books, and you got in 123. Is it usually a percentage, or is it one for one, or just?
Yeah, no, it's, depends on how much time they have to review the stacks and how much, I mean, the ordering is a little low right now because, they got a little ahead of themselves, if you remember, so we've cut
Okay.
them way back the last couple of months. They should be back on target actually of, what,
By February.
February, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
This, I mean, they're gonna start ordering again. Yeah, they were ordering just bestsellers and, you know, the ordering was probably down like 90% for the month, last month. Gotcha. So,
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
it's like,
A lot of
All
the,
right, any questions?
the other reports for the adult and youth services, one of the repeating themes is that they're running out of space.
yeah, well, that's always,
Are we, I mean, I know that we're not working towards anything to leave the building, but is there anything else going on within the building to make more space? or-
well, I think we've squeezed everything we can. I mean, one of the reasons that we weed as aggressively as we do is because we have to make room for the new stuff. There's not room really for both. We are right now finally getting rid, a lot of libraries have already done so, but we are getting rid of all of the VHS and the books on tape.
Mm.
You know, they just take up a lot of room, and we don't like to do it because there are people that still, you know, use that technology and haven't moved to DVD and CD, but there's a point where you just can't keep housing all of that stuff, you know? Especially if you've ever looked at the difference between a DVD set, you know, book on DVD, on CD versus a book on audio. Sometimes those audio things are, you know, this
Clumsy,
precious
yeah.
space, you know, like
Big.
2 feet, you know, by, so that's being weeded now. We upstairs on the mezzanine, we've weeded that aggressively of just a lot of just junk that had collected up there, you know, just this and that, not necessarily books, but pieces of old equipment and everything else that just had to get thrown out. And we're using some of that space. So when you find a book or something that's housed there, it'll say ask a librarian, because somebody obviously has to go upstairs and find it and pull it down for you. So that's given us a little more room. Other than that, well, actually, I should warn Casey has had me order some shelves, and he's done some, you know, reconfiguring with some of the shelving. So I think we had 8 or 12 shelves added, each one 3 feet. So there's another 25 feet or whatever it is of shelving. But it meant we had to sometimes push stuff up a little higher than we would like to. I mean, not that there's not precedent for that. We've done that in other places, but you know. So, if you can think of anything else, feel free to.
Well, it's probably a good idea to keep note of these things that we can't do because of the space for when we do revisit going to the public for a new library, a larger library. These are the reasons. So,
Yeah, and the reasons are becoming more and more obvious by the day, you know.
yeah.
I mean, as I said, I think no librarian worth their salt wants to get rid of books if you don't have to, you know, you don't, but you're at that point where you just can't fit anything else in. I'm out on the reference desk a couple times a week, and occasionally I'll try to help shelve stuff, whatever, just to get it, and there's time, it's frustrating, you know, you're moving, it feels like miles of books just to get one thing in, because it's so tight, you know, and then they go by numbers, I mean, they go by, circ statistics, and they'll start really wide, like, okay, if it hasn't circulated in 18 months, if it hasn't circulated in 12, and if it hasn't, you know, they can, just because they have to keep making room, they have to make it stricter and stricter, these, you know, these weeding rules. I don't know, I mean, we've thought in the past about getting storage space off-site, you know, or something like that, maybe in a warehouse somewhere,
Or a
but
pod out there.
or a what?
Pod.
Pod?
That was-
But
It's your addition.
if anyone has any other ideas,
Okay.
I'd like to
Thank you, Matt.
Sure, you're welcome, thank you.
Ellen Mary had unfinished business and the strategic plan. I don't have any information on what to go over with that.
It hasn't been completed, so each month we keep tabling it, but I'm certainly tonight am not prepared to discuss it because I didn't buff up on it.
Okay.
I had reformatted what we had done last
Right.
time.
And we haven't
But then we
reviewed.
postponed it several times, and I
Right.
didn't even bring it tonight, I should have, I guess, but.
I think our next meeting, that should
maybe we
be
should
a
make that-
priority.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna table it.
We will table it. No choice. New business, the policy handbook reprint. Is that something you want to discuss with us?
Yes.
before?
I just wanted the blessing of the board to reprint our personnel policy. It's been a couple of years since it has been printed. It was in everyone's handbook in a certain color, and I would like to replace it with a new color so that you can easily identify what the new one would be. There's a couple of changes, and I just want to make sure everybody is on the same page when it comes to that. But the one difference that I would like to make is that we normally offer this as a copy to any employee that wants it. That still would be, I believe, the desire of the board, that any employee that wants some, this information can have it. I just would suggest that we would put that on our server, accessed by employees only, and read only, then not without the ability to make any kind of changes. But making 15 or 20 copies of a document that's 150 pages long
Adds up.
seems kind of
Yeah.
wasteful to me, when people can just look it up and print a copy of the section that is interesting to them. And so I'm asking the board to, for the blessing of creating copies for all of you folks, to create a hard copy for it behind the circ desk, and to ask David to put a
PDF
copy
out there,
on
sure.
our server.
Sounds
That's my
good.
request.
To be accessed by password.
Right.
By
Well, it's,
everyone.
yeah,
Yeah.
David is gonna make sure that it, like I say, it's read-only and accessed by, staff
Staff.
only. Not on any part that the public, would see. It's generally not something for them to see.
All right.
You think there's any interest in having like 1 or 2 copies at your desk?
We
in case
have.
Well,
anyone-
I
we
have
will
a
have,
copy,
yes.
Matt has one,
So-
and,
There's one in circulation.
and
Okay.
there's one in
General
circulation,
So they're
which,
not limited to the
Right.
server.
what I will do is go around and have each employee sign a piece of paper stating that they know there is a copy available for them to look at any time at the circ desk. So that, and that way we make sure that every person is aware that this is available to them. And this form I would put in both forms, either on the web or at the circ desk.
Do you send this out for printing, or you print it yourself?
I print it
Okay.
on
We
a
need a
very
motion?
tired printer.
I think we do.
No, I just your
Okay.
blessing that that's okay to do.
I have no issue if anybody does, bring it up.
Sounds good.
Sounds good to us.
Okay, if
Good idea.
folks would like to bring in their binder, I will be
Purple,
happy to
it's
take,
purple right
yeah,
now?
I'm not sure if it's the purple or the gray, but if you bring your binder in, I
Mm.
will replace them, at next meeting.
Will do.
Okay, thank you,
Send out a reminder too.
and we'll get together.
Okay. The April vote is, now that's what we have, Norman put this, I think, a great letter together, advertising this and what we're trying to do here. Is there anything to discuss other than this letter?
Do we need to, we don't need to vote on the date, that we are good on that date?
Well, there'll be some motions
Oh,
for
okay.
the election date and a few other things,
Okay,
but
should that go first? The motions?
Well, I
What?
wanted to ask a question. I think the letter is great,
Mhm.
and I just want to know if the $25,000 capital improvement resolution, do we need to specify, if not on the ballot, but maybe in this letter, that we're not necessarily going to use all 25,000? That, the 25,000 is in anticipation of, it might be this much, or it might be a certain amount for the roof, but we might need to replace wood rot, so we're not shorting ourselves, but we anticipate it'll be much less than this. I mean, I don't know how to best phrase that, or at all.
Cause when they take that, and I'm not a carpenter of any sort of, I have no, but just having had something done in my house is when they open up a wall and like, oh. My concern is when they pull up that roof, they're gonna go, ooh.
Yeah, I expect they will.
Yeah.
So maybe not at all, just let it
I
ride.
think just to say the number, and then if we end up doing it for 15, good for us, and we
We'll
have
use
other
it for
capital
something else.
projects that are waiting.
Or,
so-
yeah, and that is discussed prior in this letter, so.
Okay.
Is there a copy of the letter in the packet in front of me here, or?
No, but I.
No, I emailed it, I'm sorry.
No, I
Oh.
read it in,
Oh,
on the
okay.
email, I didn't print, there's one thing I wanted to take a look at again, if you don't mind. think when I looked at it, it wasn't broken into paragraphs the way it is here, which
Oh.
is helpful. I don't know why my screen had it all merged together. That's what I wanted to suggest, for breaking it up into paragraphs.
If,
Thank you.
if that, for the 2014 fiscal year, it says resolution to fund in part the replacement of the 40-year-old roof. That way, if there's leftover monies, you don't have to give it back.
Well,
Is that what we have to do?
I don't know about that verbiage though. It
Yeah.
kind of
The funded part
says we may not be able to pay for all
Everybody's
of
gonna
it.
get back a
It
check.
sounds like it's
But some-
doing
But
half a
something
roof.
like that, so that you,
Yeah.
So in other words, we're not limited to using 25,000 on the roof.
How's the
could
phrase
use it
right now?
on some other project as well.
Well, it says for the 2013-2014 fiscal year, we're asking the community to approve a 25,000 capital improvement resolution to fund the replacement of the 40-year-old leaking rear roof. Maybe we change that to include our capital projects.
I guess you could have another sentence that if any funds,
And additional
Oh.
projects.
if any funds remain, or if that project, something along the lines of, if that project doesn't require 25,000, any remaining funds will be used toward the other capital projects.
The physical resources, you guys had it at between 10 and 20, I believe.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
So, I mean, and that's a conservative estimate? Or is that something that we got from a roofer? This is what they came and looked at it and said between
Strictly
10 and,
estimates. No, strictly estimates, so.
what if we need more than 25? I mean, we can, I mean, I am not married to this whatsoever, this is why we're discussing it here. I wanna make sure we put it as clear as possible that that's what we're going to be tackling now. And if, you know, I don't wanna give the impression that we're going to be returning back monies to the community if we don't
No.
use
Right.
$25,000, because then everybody's gonna be expecting their $2.50 back. I don't know.
I don't know anything about the roof, but what if we just got rid of the word rear roof and just left it roof, leaking roof? I mean, that opens it
Mm.
up to
To
the whole.
roof?
Yeah, there's certainly
And
problems
that
with other
allows,
projects.
doesn't limit your.
Are there other leaking parts of the roof that we know of?
Well, clearly we have water running down the back wall here too, so.
Yeah,
Sidewall.
that's really roof related.
And you're saying you just specify the rear of the building, so I don't know. That's, what's the clearest verbiage that we wanna go to the public with?
All right, now, so you listed in paragraph 3, all the things that need to be done.
Right, so.
So why not simply say to approve a $25,000 capital improvement fund, a resolution, period.
Fund, right.
And then just get rid of that business about the replacement of the roof, because we're gonna use it wherever the priority is.
That's good.
We've
Yeah.
already indicated there's a whole bunch of things, the
Mhm.
most immediate being that roof. I think any person looking at that's gonna say, oh my God, you gotta get rid of that, you gotta solve that problem. And that gives us some flexibility.
I'm sorry, where, third
In other words,
paragraph?
The paragraph that begins with, for the 2013-14 fiscal year, we are asking the community
Oh,
to
okay.
approve a
Mhm.
$25,000 capital improvement resolution, period.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Is it resolution or is it fund?
They're gonna approve a resolution.
It's a
Resolution to fund
resolution,
it.
One other question, there was some talk about, did you wanna use capital improvements or capital repairs? I remember,
I think
Oh.
the term, isn't the term improvement usually that's the,
I remember you
I
guys
think it was-
suggesting that use repairs was a little more accurate in terms of the situation, but maybe
Yeah.
this is the right, proper, legal
Verbiage.
verbiage, I don't know. But I just remember there being a discussion.
You're right.
um,
I'm sorry, if we leave it, capital improvement, resolution, period, are we giving the impression that that $25,000 is going to take care of the roof, painting the building, the caulking,
Yeah.
the driveway, and the sewer line?
Right.
one-
It's a little
well, I
ambiguous of
voted-
that,
I
that
voted-
because
Is
you
that
put
the-
all the details before then, they might
Mhm.
think that
I-
that's.
I voted for, why isn't the driveway paved? Can't you see it? It's not painted yet.
Well, you do say our
I
goal is to fund
gave
a
it 25.
part of the needed
Oh,
repairs
yes.
in each of the next few years.
I just wanna make it clear, I don't know, I guess I wanted to make it clear that this
Or how
this
about-
is what we're going for
Right.
now.
Or if you say
Correct.
$25,000 capital improvement resolution to fund, to begin to fund some of these repairs, or something like that.
Well, what you could do, I like the idea of that sentence at the end of the preceding paragraph, the last sentence, our goal is to
Mhm.
fund a part of the needed repairs in each of the next few years. If we put that sentence in the paragraph that follows, that could be the opening
to
sentence.
introduce that
Our
paragraph.
fund is to fund a part of the needed repairs. Now, when you say in each of the next few years, does that imply that we're gonna be asking for $25,000 capital fund every year? Is that one way that might be read?
Well, probably
Cause I thought what we had
for
said,
painting the building, the caulking,
The goal is to fund
I guess we are gonna go back, right? Cause we never built it into our,
Right.
I guess we do have to go back. Okay, so when we leave it the way it is, just put that, make that the first sentence in the paragraph
the
that
next
actually
paragraph.
mentions the 25,000.
so
And
Yeah.
then they'll know. This
so the
is
fourth paragraph begins, our goal is to fund a part of the needed repairs in each of the next few years. And then the sentence for the 2013-14 fiscal year, we're asking the community to approve a $25,000 capital improvement resolution, period.
Yeah.
Use the word therefore.
Where?
Therefore, in the 2013-2014 fiscal year. Instead of for the,
Yeah, that's the
I
other.
mean, it's just minor detail.
Yes, no?
Yeah.
Going once, twice, therefore?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you know what needs to be done on.
Very good letter.
Yeah,
It is.
I'm taking out to fund the replacement of the 40-year-old leaking rear roof,
Right.
Yeah.
taking out that sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next year when we go back, they're not gonna say, didn't we fund this already?
Well, we either started with our goal or we have to approve a 25,000 capital improvement resolution to fund a part of the needed repairs in each of the next few years.
I
Either
just wanna
proceed
make
or
sure
end
that
it
we're
with.
clear, that the verbiage is clear.
But I
For
think
the
then
public.
next year you're going to summarize what was done the previous year.
Right.
We don't know what
You know,
to
and break-
expect next
Because then you
year
can break
and
down
costs
what money was
Mhm.
used
will be
and
presented.
what is, what's left, and you don't know that going in.
Okay, so I'm just moving one sentence and taking out part of another,
Right.
correct?
And then adding the word therefore
Therefore,
to the second sentence, to the sentence that includes the dollar amount.
therefore, for the
Therefore, comma, for the 2013-14 year, you're asking.
Right.
Okay.
It sounds redundant. Therefore, for the.
I'm sorry.
Redundant.
Okay, well, it's a little awkward, maybe we could say,
Therefore, in the,
Therefore, in the.
I like that.
that's how the Constitution was written. Brilliant
well,
minds coming
you
together.
could actually get rid of the
Sorry.
2013-2014 phrase and say, therefore, we are asking the community to approve a $25,000 capital improvement.
Because because you're talking about this year's budget anyway.
Right, this is the
That's-
budget for
that's
that time
fine.
frame, so you don't need to.
It's all redundant.
Yeah.
Okay, therefore, in the,
Now, just
in this
therefore,
fiscal year,
comma, no,
therefore,
just
comma.
therefore, comma, we are asking the community to. Because this is the budget letter for that
Yeah,
time
right.
frame.
alright. I will make the changes and send it back, give it to you, I'll send everybody a copy, and, send it to Matt and ready to go for the newsletter,
Okay.
which will go out in March.
Yes.
Okay. That's it, no further change, and the vote is on April 10th,
Yes.
and we are indeed putting it up on, a detailed budget on the website, so
Yes.
that interested parties
Yeah.
can go and, okay?
All right.
How many people do we usually get out for the vote each year? What is the number? 300?
300?
300, 600?
Approximately 300.
300?
It's amazing.
What's it pass by usually? 180, 200?
2/3.
Yeah.
2/3?
Yeah,
Mm.
2/3 usually pass that.
Okay.
The Friends does not oppose or support the budget. Friends simply tells people that the vote is taking place. Because there may be some people that, for whatever reason, are against it, and others are for it, and we don't wanna get into that.
Mhm.
We're just saying, here's when the vote is, and,
Mhm.
you know.
So that's a block of votes that don't even.
You can't really
Well,
assume
they-
that the Friends are all gonna, most of the people that are in Friends are gonna come out for it, but we don't tell them to.
Oh, okay.
We just tell them, this is when the vote's taking place.
Okay.
But we don't endorse, I mean, like the new library vote, the Friends didn't endorse their library because there were people on the Friends that didn't want it, that they thought it was, not the right way to go.
Okay.
Last thing, I'm sorry. I just need to clarify. So we're not saying that we're going to use the $25,000 to fix the roof.
Right.
We're just leaving it open in case something, okay.
All right. Now, Carol, it's at this point that I make the motions for the election and the other. I don't know if everybody has this, 3 motions. First is resolve that the annual election for the Board of Trustees and budget vote shall be held on April 10th, 2013. I need somebody to make a motion, a second, and who will make that motion? Jim, second. Bernie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'd like to make the motion to resolve that Carol Cullen, Clerk of the Board, be appointed Clerk of the Election for the April 10th, 2013 vote. Who makes that motion?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The third, last, resolve that Ellen Mary O'Brien be appointed Chairman of the election for the April 10th, 2013 vote. Who will make that motion? Norma has made the motion, and who will second it? Jim has seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that's it. Did anybody have anything to add to next month's agenda?
Now,
Oh, what?
the actual budget amounts, those resolutions, that's all been taken care of, the 25,000 and so on.
That
Carol
was part
says
of last
yes.
month's
Okay, so, and there was-
advertising.
That's done, okay.
So we're done with new business. Does anybody have any changes to next month's agenda? Anything to add?
We have the strategic plan.
Oh, yeah, the strategic plan. Okay.
When are petitions gonna be available for people wishing to run?
I haven't worked out the exact date, but I believe it's something like maybe the 27th of February will be the first day that it's in the newspaper. And that's the day that it would be available to the public and to board members. Care to run again?
I believe I am up.
Yes,
Who else?
and more.
So am I.
Nora, okay.
Can we look forward to having you two run again?
I hope so. I hope I'm still around. So, good deal.
Be my pleasure to work up the paperwork.
All right. We would normally have privilege of the floor, but we have nobody from the public here to take on that. Is there a need for executive meeting?
No.
Just a quick question for the newsletter. I was looking at past newsletters, you do a write-up on the budget and you put the exact amount on the newsletter, and now
Yeah.
that you have a breakdown, that will be part of that?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
good, cause I don't mention
No,
the
no.
exact amount
Right.
here, so,
We'll take care of it.
okay.
I want to mention again, Library Advocacy Day
Ah, yes.
is on March 5th.
So that,
So if anybody wants to go, and if everybody wants to carpool to Newburgh, I'll drive if you want.
Is that Tuesday?
Yes, it's Tuesday.
March 5?
Yep. I think you have to be registered. I know we received mail about it by sometime at the end of February, I think. We can check.
I
and
don't recall
see.
the dates.
But, yeah. So anybody who wants to carpool, I'm going. So.
All right,
Thank you.
good deal. Well, if nobody has anything else, I'm going to adjourn the meeting, and at 8:24, need to make a motion for that purpose. Norma made the motion. Bernie is seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Pretty quick
Good.
move.
I know, what happened?